Okay, so we've generated our partition then. So this is the workflow that I've found works best for creating these videos, so far at least. I mean, again, we might update this. This is early days stuff. So what you're going to try and imagine, I'm not sure if I kind of fully explained this properly before in the previous video, but what you've got to try and imagine is that you are standing directly above my iPad right now, and you're looking down on the screen, and this is what you're going to see. So what I've done is I've built the viewer, and it's got 4 reflective panels in it, and these 4 reflective panels are all at 45-degree angles. And what happens is the top of the panel, the reflective panel, is here, and the bottom of the reflective panel goes here. So if you can imagine that kind of, you're looking at it from above right now, this is where the reflective panel will meet the screen, and then it rises up, so it goes up like that until it's at its highest point here. So there's like 4 layers of this, okay? And so what I've done is this end of the screen is the back. So that's the back of the viewer. The viewer sort of sits around the screen like this, okay? Like that. And this is the back. So this is the thing that's furthest away from the viewer here, okay, on this panel, all right? And this one's a bit closer, and this is the one that's at the front. So the viewer then, their eyes are coming from this direction, looking down the viewer at the reflective panels here. Okay? So what that means then is that if you want something to be slightly lower down in the experience, so let's say somebody's feet, if they're standing, their feet need to be here. Let's say that the person is on this first panel here, this is where their feet need to be, and their head needs to be up here. Otherwise they'd be upside down. Okay, so to try and illustrate what we're talking about here then, I'm going to just generate some text. So I'm going to put this text on maybe, let's say, this third layer here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the word reflection, except of course it's in black. So I shall write that in white. There we go. So there's my word reflection, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the properties for this text 1 layer. Remember that with this little triangle here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, this little triangle here, and I'm going to open it up. Remember, yours will look like 2 lines. It won't look like a filled-in triangle because yours is a newer version of After Effects. And I'm going to go into the transform controls, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this by 90 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to just come onto this rotation here. I'm going to type 90, I'm going to hit return, and that's now been rotated through 90 degrees. Okay, and what I can do is making sure that I've selected my selection tool up here, so that's the text tool that I've still got at the moment. So I'm going to go and select my arrow for the selection tool here. I can move this around, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this right at the bottom, so that that's right at the bottom of the experience, like that. Okay, but there's a problem. I don't know if you have thought about this yet. The problem is that because what we're seeing is a reflection of what's on the screen, that word will now be backwards. So if you've got anything like text or a person, and we need to know which way round they are, like with me when I was playing the guitars and stuff like that, what you need to do is you need to make this backwards in order for us to be able to see it properly in the experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on to scale here. So at the moment with scale, this one, I can scale it up or I can scale it down, it doesn't matter. So I'm happy with that at the moment, 103%, that's absolutely fine. Make a note of that. Remember, it's at 103%, that's where I want it. Okay, and then what you need to do is you need to unlink this constrain proportions tab like that, and you need to go into this first value here, and you need to type minus 103. And what that effectively does is it flips it around in this particular position. I'm now going to have to drag it back to where it was. There we go. But that flips it around. There you go. And now when we see it in the experience, it will be the correct way round, because obviously it's backwards, so it will reflect correctly in the experience. Okay. If we don't do that, let me just show you what happens. So if I don't uncheck this constrain proportions button here, okay, and I type in -103, it will do -103 for both pieces, and now it will be upside down as well. Okay, so we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo this constrain proportions button, go to there, -103, and then that is your backwards experience. And then when it's on the line, like so, that will be at the bottom. So if you imagine that, that's going to be like on the ground in the experience. If I put it up here, it would be up near the top of the viewer. It would be up near like the roof of it, if you see what I mean. But down here, it's down near the floor. So what you can do then is just be starting to think about what you might want to put in these different layers. You know, can you film yourself maybe, or you could get images. It doesn't have to be moving images. It could be photography. It could be static. It could be something that you shot for one of the weekly challenges. It could be something that you've taken from the internet. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, just come up with something that you think might be interesting in terms of using these 4 different layers effectively. Remember, as I say, what I've found is that the less clutter there is, the better. I don't mean clutter in terms of objects. You can have lots of objects, as you saw with the band thing that I did, where I had lots of lines and bits and pieces, but more just like big blocks of stuff. So the big block of bubbles that I tried initially with the band one just didn't work. It works better if this is predominantly black with some elements on it, because then it'll all pop up and you can see what's going on. But, you know, have a play, see what happens. You never know. I mean, we're learning about this at the moment, and I don't know a huge amount about it yet because I've only just built the thing. You know, so you might come up with something that really works well. So just try stuff out, send it through, and we will. I'll put it in the viewer and show you what it looks like. The next video will be about exporting your project out, so I'll upload that as a separate video.